Hi Andy, so I decided to do a mental roadmap to show my learning of perception for this role reversal project. I decided to do it on basically riding public transportation, which is something I never do because I have a car and I totally take it for granted now that I know how much time and everything that goes into taking the bus. But I wanted to break my perception of that people who ride buses don't have cars or they don't have access to cars. So basically, I decided to take the bus to work for a day and back. And on the way home, I stopped at my favorite restaurant, Casa que Pasa, for a burrito. And then I made my way home from there. So basically, my first stop was riding the bus for a day. So this is a little just preview of my project. I will post some pictures so you can read what I wrote, or I'll just post text actually to show you more. But this is my little mental roadmap. So this is where I started. That was my original perception. This is my first stop. So I spent a lot of time digging through route transits and everything, trying to figure out what routes I needed to take to get to work and all that. And I didn't realize how much time it takes. Like, my goodness, it took a while. But yeah, so my plan was to go to work, to go to Casa que Pasa, and to go home. So my second step was, how did my perceptions affect how I treated this group? And this is kind of a hard question because I treat all people and all groups with respect, so I didn't really treat anybody I interacted with any differently. The only thing I noticed was that I was a little shy because I was in an unfamiliar setting. I was a little more timid at first, for sure, going into it. Like, I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, it ended up being a really great experience. I wasn't giving myself the opportunity to know the individuals and know their stories, like by assuming and putting everybody into one category, and by putting everyone into one category by saying they don't have cars or they don't have access to cars. I'm not getting the bigger picture. I'm not seeing everyone as individuals and their individual stories. Here I talked about what perception trap I am falling into. By assuming that people who ride the bus don't have access to cars, I'm overgeneralizing. I'm assuming that is what a few is true of many. My pre-assumptions clouded my perception lens, and instead of talking to the people around me who use the bus in my life, I jumped to the conclusion without thinking it through. I didn't think logically and clearly that of course there's so many reasons that people ride the bus. Of course there is. It can't just be that they just don't have access to cars. There has to be more reasons. So I set out to find out what those reasons were and to break the perception I held. I also talked a little bit about confirmation bias because I was drawing my perception from interpreting that the people I knew in my life who ride the bus don't have cars. So I was taking what I knew and what was consistent with my beliefs and applying that to my perception. So that also kind of fell into how my perception came about for this project. So I want to talk about a little bit about who I met. So I met a girl named Emily. She kind of looked my age, so I felt comfortable to talk to her. I ended up sitting next to her and saying, hey, so I'm doing this project for my communications class, and I was wondering if you could talk with me for a few minutes. And at first, like, I didn't know how she was going to react. I was really, really nervous, but we had so much in common, and she is such a sweet soul. I really didn't want to get off the bus. Like, I think we had like 15 minutes from when we started talking to when I had to get off the bus for work, and I like wasn't ready. I was like, no, I could talk to you forever. But yeah, she was really, really sweet. I ended up recognizing her too because she was a customer in our store. Like, I recognized her face. So yeah, so that was really cool. I just want to talk a little bit about what we talked about when I was interviewing her. Just going through some of the basics here. So she is originally from King County. She moved to Whatcom County for school, and the reason why she rides a bus is because parking on campus is so ridiculously expensive, and come to find out that actually a lot of students ride the bus because parking at Western or parking at colleges in general sometimes can be hard, so it's just easier just to take the bus. You don't have to pay the expensive permits and all of that. She said that one thing she really misses about King County is the bus system. It was easy to get around at all times, whereas Whatcom County has a good bus system, but not as well, and there's not as many options. She lives far away from her family. She was always upset that she had to miss holidays with them, but it's the sacrifices that she's willing to make to live in a city that makes her happy, and Bellingham makes her happy. I asked her what she did for fun, and she's really big into movie nights, which is something that I'm super into too, and board game nights, which is like one of my favorite things. She said she loves movie marathons and cooking and all that stuff, which is all stuff I like to do, which I thought was really cool. And she said, one thing I haven't done but I would like to try is go on a road trip with a group of friends, ideally to somewhere like the Oregon coast. And I love road trips. Like, I love road trips. Well, for the first, couple hours. Then after like the 6th hour, I just, want to be done. But yeah, so back to Emily. So her political ideas fall the same with me. She's kind of, right now she's just kind of like trying to tune it out because it's just a little too much right now, and that's kind of something that I don't necessarily want to tune out, but I'm trying to not lose myself in the news and lose myself in everything, because I just get too stressed out. And she was like, I just get depressed when I listen to the news and politics, and I'm like, yep, me too, girl, me too. So she was really, really, really cool to talk to, and she really opened up my eyes, because I learned a whole new reason why people take the bus, and I met a really cool girl out of it too, so that was really nice. So my fourth stop was, what did I learn about my perception? And then I learned that my perception was totally false. There are so many reasons why people ride the bus: to save money on gas, to be more green friendly to the earth, or because they simply just don't want to drive. There's people all across the board who are riding the bus: children, business people, elderly, just people my age. Like, there was so many people who rode the bus. My fifth stop and my little final destination is that my perception was totally broken. I learned so many benefits of riding the bus, and something I really liked is realizing how like earth friendly it is that my bus ride to work is 25 minutes, but sacrificing a little time to leave less of a carbon footprint is something I could do. So I thought that was a cool thing to pull out of the project, was that I was going to vow to myself, I'm going to ride the bus at least once a week. But maybe not in the winter time, because it's been so cold with the snow. So once a week in the summertime and once every 2 weeks in the winter time. But it's really convenient because there's a bus stop right out my house and all that. So yeah, that was my project. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about my lens and how it affects the way I view the world. And if I just take the time to really think about things and think about the bigger picture, I can learn a lot about people. I learned that if I open my mind and not fall into a pattern of using my lens, I can learn so much about the world and all the people in it. I met an amazing girl through this, and I would have never met her if I wouldn't have gotten out there in the community and interacted with others in this way, especially in a setting that I normally want to be in. So I'm going to be very conscious of how I use my perception. Now that I know the traps that I can easily fall into, I know what to look out for and what not to do. So that's really going to help clear my lens and get some of those clouds out of my lens and just really focus on what's important. So thanks so much for listening, and have a good day.